Hey there, I'm so excited to talk to you about something new here today. You know that I am part of a new business startup that solves the problem of what do we do when kids are on wait lists for things and parents need tools. I am happy to introduce you today to Jason, who is the original founder of an app and education community called Togetherly, where we're going to talk to you a little bit about this space for parents and how we can make life better for you and make life better for your kids who might be struggling with some behavioral health challenges or mental health challenges. So Jason, talk to us about what sparked the concept of Togetherly.
Thanks, Samantha. Yeah, really excited to tell you guys about it today. Togetherly really came from my over 3 years of working with parents, specifically that have kids with behavioral health issues. I was a part of a startup called Kiddo Health, and we built wearable technology to help parents better understand different insights about the physiological impact that their kids' sleep, activity, stress levels were having. As I talked to those hundreds and thousands of parents, actually, they kept on saying the same thing back to me: is this data is great, but I actually need help with everyday life things. I need resources. I need educated on even what this behavioral health issue is. I need equipped at home of better help with sleep and routines and those sort of things. And so really kept on knocking my head against that problem. And parents were outcrying of, hey, I feel alone in this journey. And I wanted to build something called Togetherly to help bridge that gap between them being alone and what the kind of clinical environment was giving them.
Yeah, and I remember when you first knocked on my door, so to speak, because I've already been working in this parent field since 2004, talking about how do we equip parents, give them a plan to feel confident, to solve some of these things that keep us awake at night. And what really inspired me was the thing that you just talked about. How do we solve things like sleep? How do we resolve things like creating more peaceful relationships in the family? And you actually have a personal story because you're a dad yourself.
I do. I have a daughter who's 11, just turned 12 actually, that she struggles with bad anxiety, panic attacks, etc. And after months of finally getting her with a provider, which that was the first thing to tackle, when I talked to that provider, probably second or third session, I said, all right, this is all great. I'm so thankful for you helping Georgia. We need a lot of help at home. We're struggling with sleep and just asking questions around sleep, as well as some of her tantrums. What are sort of some best practices? And she looked me straight in the eye and said, Jason, I'm not trained in that, and I don't have time for that. I'm Georgia's therapist, which is great. I want our therapists out there focusing on our kids' overall outcomes, but the reality is there's so much more to it that is happening at home, and I'm her number one caregiver. I'm with her, needing to help her along with life in the everyday sense, and I really needed support, and it just wasn't built into the system.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that I'm certified as a parenting coach, and I think about all of these things that our kids go through and how we have a heart for our children. And it can really feel like, as a parent, especially if you like learning, or you might be more type A, or you might be accomplishing things at work or in your health, and then you get home and you're hitting your head against the wall and you're thinking, am I failing? But really, that question of reaching out for support is a sign that you're caring.
Right.
And so you know that feeling of loneliness as a parent. What is your sense for all the parents who are listening right now? Why do you think in 2025 parenting is so lonely?
Yeah, I think it's that interesting juxtaposition of we're so connected with our internet and tools and social communities, and yet we feel overall like it's not a lot of authentic connection, and it's not really equipping me. So we're stuck in Reddit groups and Facebook groups where we're trying to find a post that's relevant to me, or find people that are relevant to me. We're on Google, or now getting AI help around things that feel like a companion, but it's not real, true relationship. And we're not being able to connect with facilitators that are true professionals, parent coaches, and providers to help us that come from a real expertise. And that's why I was so excited to meet you, Samantha. And when we were introduced, I was like, wow, this is someone who's doing this in Minneapolis, in the Midwest, and even internationally now. You've done this, where you're taking your skills from parent coaching and bringing great content, as well as kind of this small group equipping where people feel seen, feel heard, but also are educated. And that just, I think, was the natural connection for us. Co-founding this company made a ton of sense. Samantha's amazing background in that field, and my bringing the tech and scalability from the technology industry is really a really interesting kind of connection, and we're really excited to grow this.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're really clear about, like you talked about sleep, is that I'm a specialist in my certain domain. I love to talk about intensity with behaviors and big feelings and big reactions, but most families need more than one resource. Like, you know this, if you're listening to this right now, like Jason already said, he was looking for something for mental health for his child. We've talked offline about what we do for a family to have well-being and work with therapists. We, there's certain things about sleep coaches and naturopaths and supplements and all of these things that we can do.
Screens.
Screens, right?
That's
Right.
another
We've
one,
already
yeah.
talked about our
Yeah.
first 5 topics. And really, when I think about why parenting is so lonely, I go back to being in my early 30s and a friend saying to me, we live in apartments. Think about that, apartment. And so what's happening is we're in our own spaces, we're apart from other people, and what we want is we want a different experience for our kids. And what I take a stand for is also a different experience for us.
Yeah.
And that's what Togetherly is doing. We're bringing parents together who want to understand what they can do differently, because when we think about what's broken in the current system and what we're looking for, if we're at home and doors are being slammed and there's yelling, and we're not just talking about our kids here, right?
Right.
Like, what's happening is we understand that we're part of the equation, and that's what Togetherly is. It's a space for parents who want to do better. Is there anything you wanted to say about the broken system?
Yeah, I mean, right now, what are our options, right? You either have someone who's more like a parent coach consultant that charges, a decent amount per hour to come out and really understand your family and help you with everyday things, or you go it alone. We're in this do-it-yourself culture of like, I should just be able to get this, right? All the information's available to me as a parent. Why can't I understand it? But we have lack of time. We just need some easy next steps and some people that understand us in an affordable way that makes it that no matter where you live, if you're close to, for example, Seattle Children's has a great autism clinic with education for parents, but you have to be in Seattle, right? There's millions of people that aren't close to different centers of education to really better understand how do I even handle this at home? How do I support my child and help them thrive? And also the family unit. How do I help their siblings? How do I help our marriage? There's so many elements that this affects that we will touch on Togetherly and really help support you.
Yeah, and I picture even social media and how we get this smattering, and so we're working really hard and we're spending energy and time not sleeping in order to do research. We're fielding phone calls from teachers and doctors and specialists. And everybody likes to make the joke in the parenting industry that there's no driver's manual, but then when you actually work with somebody who specializes in supporting parents, they're like, actually, there is a pathway forward. And that's what Togetherly is. We're saying, do you need a class on a diagnosis 101? Are you kind of mid-level where you've got some basic things under control and now you are really ready to look at yourself and change some of your behaviors at home? Or are you ready to take this to a more advanced level so that the change that you experience is transforming because your skills have transformed, not because there was a space for the kid, which you might be bringing them to services, but this is really the space for you.
Well, and the industry's finally starting to see, because the research and data is showing that if you equip parents, you increase that kid's outcomes by at least 15% if they're equipped at home. If the parent is stressed, guess what? Utilization rates are really low at a lot of these provider groups because the parent is overstressed, fatigued, and not getting their child even to therapy because of everything else going on in life. And so finally the industry, both from payers, providers out there, are starting to understand that if the parent is the center, they are the core caregiver, right? They are the core therapist, they are the core supporter for that child. And so why isn't there more support in the industry to help them? And that's something that I just get really excited about, is we're really filling that gap of supporting the caregiver and the parent, where there's just not that many resources out there that do this sort of thing.
Yeah, and what comes to mind for me is, like, can we speak to the parent who feels like, by the way, you deserve this type of support. Like, once you have the tools to reduce the yelling, the fighting, the conflict at home, no matter who that's between, there's more rest, there's more relief. You get to use your resources of time and energy and finances towards the things that you want to, instead of being consumed with the things that are challenging. And I think this is like the double-edged sword of, I want to do better compared to how I was raised or compared to how things are going now. And it's like, did you know that relief and rest and some spaciousness is actually possible? And so that's what we're trying to give. I love that, by equipping parents.
So, Samantha, I'm curious, in all of your years of helping parents, when you think about this solution, who is it really for? What sort of parents would you say that this is really perfect for?
Yeah, I look at you and I, and we like to be skillful people. We like to be skillful people in terms of running businesses and running teams and running our family household. And I feel like who this is for is the parent who is looking for tools. Like, you're really, in my industry of parent coaching, we call it the coachable person. It's the person who wants to do something different and who wants to grow, but also the person who understands that if I need a specific thing resolved, I have to ask for it.
Yeah.
I have to admit that there are panic attacks at home. I have to admit that when we're in transition, there's yelling and there's meltdowns and we get frustrated. And I talk a lot about how we overteach with logic instead of just creating space for kids to have their feelings.
Right.
So this is really for the parent who is looking to grow, and by extension, their child gets to have a different experience because you're a grounded person who has effective tools, and you carry a peacefulness inside of you that it's all going to be okay. And you feel that way because you have tools, because you have a plan. And more than that, because we keep talking about like being equipped, this is a community setting.
Right.
So this isn't just, I mean, you know, like you're the tech guy behind this. So this isn't just an educational course.
Right.
Like this is about creating a space for groups, like small groups of 10 families, so that you create relationships and you understand, not just you understand, but you feel you're not alone. So if you're somebody who has gone through the vulnerable journey of reaching out and saying, my family needs help, but now you want to hear that other parents feel that way, it's such a relief again to say, I'm actually making friends on this journey. There is a bit of a roadmap, and there are people to do life with.
Right. I love that, and that's a core principle for us. And you talked about me being a tech guy. Just to mention, you know, AI is baked into this from the supporting the system. But really, one of the reasons why I was excited about this, it's almost like anti that. It's going the other direction in that there's a core belief I have that people need people. At the end of the day, AI and great technology is going to help advance a lot of the different practices and things, how we support our lifestyle. But at the end of the day, it feels so good when a parent sees me, knows they have the same issues. We get to talk about the different stories and what's helped, what resources have helped. And then not only that, but we're guided by a professional, a true MFT, BCBA, whatever, connected to that diagnosis, to help give us a little bit more personalized guidance to apply the content to my unique situation, which I think is also a key element of this.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, testimonials, parent stories, all of those things to come. We just wanted to give you a look at what exactly is happening with Togetherly, and let you know, by the way, there's a waiting list open. We have our first course. Oh, we should talk about the vision, about how the vision is to have. Well, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, the vision we will be launching, as Samantha's saying, with this first course on anxiety, brought to you by yours truly, Samantha. But the real vision for this is that it's not, as we mentioned, just one course for one diagnosis or one condition. The goal of Togetherly is the fact that there's a fragmented amount of content and help out there, but even navigating and finding that is really difficult. And so Togetherly is trying to bring that all together, the best content out there across multiple categories and different diagnoses, paired with great facilitators to facilitate a group, matching you to families that are just like you, and then providing you resources and things to apply at home to help you take that next step. It's really the combination of those things that does not exist out there, and we're excited to build step by step along with you. We're really excited to get your feedback, hopefully as you join us in this first course, of how we can make it better.
That's right. So we're going to be launching this course on parenting kids through anxiety, a step-by-step guide to more ease at home, specifically designed for those of you who have kids with anxiety. And I'm so excited. We have a list of names of people who are up and coming related to mindfulness, to screen time. There's so many people nationally and internationally who have the number of certain diagnoses like ADHD and children's mental health concerns. So we're excited to open the doors and welcome you in. So get on the wait list to join the course.
Click that link in your email or on the social post.
And we're excited to interact with you. So leave a comment. Otherwise, we'll see you inside the new class.
Thanks.